to every single thing that we're dealing with right now. On the political level, and again, the powers that be that control that what we can see right now with our physical eyes. We're not seeing everything else that they're doing. But the whole process of channeling, again, it's that external thing again. It's you're not good enough. So you must receive this information from a third party.
Yes.
Now, what's interesting is it's the same third party concepts. You have what with Archangel Michael became very big at one point. Then you had Saint Germain that became he was very big for a while, and then it kind of tapered down. I think those are the two biggest ones that I think people end up saying that they channel. But what we have to look at is there's two things here. We've got the possibility of the interception of your mind in terms of what can be projected to you as channeled information, and at the same time we do have forces, these beings that do exist, that can use this as an opportunity to insert. You'll get some great information. People will get some information that's very on. And then there's something else being slipped in there as well, and that becomes the control process. And there's so much more tied into this, and I'm being selective in terms of what words I use and exactly what I say.
Sure.
But we want to look at the whole understanding of this Lord Maitreya. And all the other messiahs, again, that I mentioned. People are looking for a messiah to come,
yes.
Which is one of the more prominent ones is this Lord Maitreya that is supposed to come. And you've got a lot of Christians who have dug up some really great information on tying in the Nazi movement and Hitler's belief with the New Age movement, and the fact that he was studying this information and how similar it is today. But what is interesting to me is that in the same breath, they then turn around and say, yeah, but it's, that they're wrong because it's all about, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And I'm scratching my head and I'm like, okay, but then you're sort of doing the same thing again.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Are you not questioning all of this? First of all, a lot of these other groups, that I haven't mentioned any names on, they recognize the Christ as an office. So just as we have this whole governmental structure shifting over, people don't understand. There's a whole other governmental structure that is being shifted to, that's being moved into place.
Yes.
And believe it or not, it has everything to do with the whole concept of a Messiah and who these people expect to come and to take over, and these various levels by which all of this is being orchestrated. So this isn't fantasy. You might say you don't get involved, but I tell you, it affects everyone down to the economic situation right now. It is all tied in together in order to fulfill, as they say, some of these prophecies that much of these groups have held on to, and that's why the people dying in the wars and all of that, they look at that as a sign of their Messiah coming. Well, we have to really look at that.
Absolutely. I mean, again, just see what's happening right now in Palestine, and that plays right into that idea. And on one level, I think that a lot of Christians, they raise their eyebrows here and look at this, that, oh my God, we're a step closer now to the fulfillment of the prophecies. That great war is supposed to take place almost in that sense in order to bring Jesus back to the earth and so forth. So there's a lot of stuff that is going on here. But I guess also what I would see is that the basic outline is that the New Age is same as the Old Age, and it builds on the same, yes. It builds on the same foundations. And again, it doesn't really matter if, I believe personally that we were handed this idea of a savior, what is it now, 1700 years back or something like that, and now we're being handed a new version of that, an updated version of that, and that might,
updated version.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I say. I say, you know what, we're in the same matrix. Well, all they did was they slapped a fresh fresh paint on, move the furniture around a little bit, but you're still in the matrix.
Of course, yeah.
So it's really interesting. And I think, again, what I am promoting to people is to really begin to dig within themselves. We're not taught that. That's actually something that is not encouraged, just as entrepreneurship is not encouraged in schools. Anything that allows you to own yourself or to feel that you are capable,
right,
or to aspire beyond what the acceptable beliefs, the acceptabilities, is not encouraged. And so we have to begin to ask those questions and be willing to step up a little bit further in our perceptions and not lock ourselves into what we think reality could be and confine it within that box, because it's that confinement that creates the limitations, and that actually allows the control process and these people to come in and to do what it is that they're doing. But I think we have more power than we know, and that's what it is. They don't, there's certain forces that don't want human beings to really recognize their abilities.
Absolutely, and that's why they want to, as you say, they want to keep us dependent on the big daddy government, and they want to, and they will go to any means possible or necessary in order to attain that goal. And that's why we see also heightened problems in the world, basically, either if we talk about war or a phony idea of terrorism in that sense, and also the idea of even economic collapses back and forth. This is in very skillful ways being manifested behind the scenes, and the right strings are being pulled at the right time in order to make these things to fall into place. And again, all of this is the basic idea of keeping people in the fear-based mode, or fear-based mindset, that okay, we cannot manage ourselves without some kind of overarching control system. And I see that this is only increasing all the time, basically, and what we're looking at now also as well on top of this is this kind of I guess we can call it scientific dictatorship or technological dictatorship. The more we're getting more surveillance, more tracking, and all this stuff. And it feels to me that they're also on a rush in a way. Many people have said this before, but they're like, they really want to have this in place before I guess the opportunities. Yeah, well, exactly. That could be it, because if we're talking about an external manifestation that takes place, basically that it's something in the external world that in some way enables this to come about more easy, or what have you. It could be the energies of where we're at, in the universe or whatever. But it feels to be that they're very much in a rush. What do you think about that? Is that something that the control structure are worried about in that sense?
I think that they definitely are in a rush, and they've been in a rush for quite some time to meet deadlines, for certain things. And I think it probably does have to do with what they perceive as a specific wave of energy, or what frequency that, or bandwidth, however you want to put it, that they need to meet or ride on. So I think that that's definitely something to look at. I remember when that was really big, when they were talking about the photon belt coming in at a certain time, the photon belt.
Sure.
So we have to look at what these people, what they do believe, what they're looking at, scientifically. I mean, it's really, anyway, I could say more about that part of it too, but it really, really is interesting. And just even, for example, I looked at how 1 minute, oh my gosh, we were talking about the gas prices. It was a common conversation with everybody as to how severe the gas prices were for a long time. I mean, I don't care what level or walk of life you were from, that was a common conversation. You could have that conversation. If you couldn't meet anybody else anywhere in anything else, you could talk about the gas prices. Right. And I looked at that, and then the gas prices were lowered, I mean drastically. And in that drastic lowering, if you notice, it happened, boom, it was lowered before this whole thing started with how bad the economy was. That chant didn't begin yet, and that's what I call these things, or chants.